If you're new to Access, this course explains how to build a database from the ground up. Now, in order to really understand what you're doing, though, we need to start with some important concepts and terms and a little bit of database design. Specifically, I'm going to cover what I think of as structural design, what your database will capture, the tables in the database, and the relationships between the tables. One thing to keep in mind. What I show you in this video applies to all relational databases, not just Access. You can use what you learn here with any database software. So let's start with the most basic definition of all. What's a database? Really? And in broadest terms, a database is any organized collection of data. Your cookbooks are all databases, and so is a simple list of names and phone numbers in Excel. So the next question that comes is, what makes an Access database different? Why should I use it? And the answer is a relational table structure, and here's what that means. This is probably the key concept to understand. Your data is broken into tables, and then those tables are linked together by shared fields called keys. Now, keys do two things. First, they assign a value of some kind to every row in a table, and you can see that Lester Baxley here has a value of 1 assigned to his name, and Patricia White has a value of 2 assigned to hers. Keys also link your tables together by sharing values between fields. For example, you can see that Lester's key value is shared with 2 phone numbers, and that makes those phone numbers his. You can also see that Naomi Barton has her key values shared 3 times, and so those phone numbers belong to her. So now you need to learn a couple more terms. You can see the key values originate in this field, and they're shared in this field. The originating field is called a primary key, and the destination field is called a foreign key. Now, just having the fields there doesn't link them. You do that by creating a relationship between the tables, and I'll show you how to do that later in this course. Now, you may be going, hold on a second, this seems like a lot of work. Why should I do this? And there are several answers to that question. First, storage is more efficient. Do you see how often names are repeated here? In a relational structure, you enter most of your data once, and that can save you a lot of space. Relational structures also improve accuracy. When you enter data more than once, you run the risk of making errors. And as an example, look what happens if you misspell Naomi Barton's name. That phone number becomes harder to find, and if you have a lot of data, you may never find the mistake at all. But because you enter most of your data once in a relational structure, you reduce the chance of error, and if you make a mistake, you only have to fix it in one place. Relational structures are also a great way to capture transactions, and by transactions I mean more than just sales. A transaction can also mean which students are in which classrooms, or who did I loan my book to. Now, as we've gone along here, I've also shown you the first 3 steps in database design. The first one is to make sure you capture all the data you need to store. In this example, I needed customer names, phone numbers, and a way to categorize those numbers. The second step is to identify all the data you know you're going to repeat or you think you're going to repeat. In this example, it was customer names, and once you've identified the repeated data, step 3 has you break that data into its own table. Now, you may be going, wait a minute, I see lots of repeated data in the type field. You could break that data into a table, but this is a small number of values. It's only 3 or 4. So instead, I'll create a lookup list, and that's just a small list of values, and we'll do that later in this course.